Hello, Chef. Welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I am your host as always, Professor Prime. And today we're going to be talking about math in the bear. It's got food, it's got art, it's got math, and it is excellent television with brilliant acting and writing. So I want to talk about the bear today. I will try to avoid spoilers, but you're free to assume that the potential is there, just to be extra safe, right? But my focus will be on talking about how math is used in food, in the restaurant industry, in making a show, how it's used in this show, and just across the board. I want to talk about math and so many other things as well. Is my experience with the show and how I feel. And I mean, I'm sure you get it already. I like it, and I want to explain that as we go. So again, I will try to get around specific points in the story because I want to focus on the math and I also want to focus on how I feel about it. But you're free to assume spoilers again just to be safe. But you're probably safe. But I'll leave it up to you. Either way, let's rock, chef. So with the bear again, it's an excellent show about food, about running a restaurant, about found family, about loss and trauma, and it's just so many other things. um I've seen it be classed as a comedy, I've seen it be classed as a comedy drama. I would say it to me is drama with some doses of comedy in it. But either way, it's a brilliant show. Again, I enjoy the acting, I enjoy the writing, and as you could imagine, I enjoy the food because how could I not? And so I want to talk about how math is used in like food and the restaurant and how that comes into play in the show, and then talk about how the show uses those things in math to tell a compelling story. And so far, there are two seasons of The Bear. The first season had 8 episodes. The second season had 10. They came out a year apart. For me, I didn't see it that first go around. I watched it pretty much first season, second season this year. And it was really cool because I got to watch that with my mom and when I would visit my family, and that's been cool. So let's get into it further. So when it comes to food, right? Just it's something that's inherently mathematical. Because right there's so much that goes into food, right? There's math in the food itself, what it's composed of, math and how you cook it, um, math and eating it and processing that and what it does to you in your body. And when you're cooking things, I find it fascinating because there's math if you're using that stove, math if in water boiling, math and the portion size of the food, right? Like the math and the different um, components of the food and how you're mixing them, right? And how long you're cooking and at what temperature and for how many people and how many calories are in the food, and again how many different components there are and what's in them. There was a smoother way to say all that, but my point is, at every conceivable level, there is food. There's math in the food. Because right, like not only are there those things that I mentioned, but again, there's math and just what it's composed of, just even on the atomic level. And I think that's pretty cool. And math and the geometry of things and how that factors into how you're cooking, how you're storing food, and then just the act of buying food is something that's inherently mathematical because you have to use money to buy that food and ration out that food for you, for other people, and then you have to play that game in the grocery store or online where you're trying to find that best deal and you're trying to circumvent the tricks that people are trying to play with you when you're getting groceries because they're trying to get you to get this next item and get this supposedly good deal. And so there's math and all that stuff. And then if you get into the restaurant industry, right, there's math and all of that. And we see not only the things that I said in that first part about food throughout the bear, but we see a lot of the interworkings of the restaurant business. And I think that's fascinating because not only are you making food, but you're trying to make money, and it costs to keep things running, right? Because there's money in buying the food, and there's math in that, and there's math in rationing out the food, having the dishes be even, and being able to keep a good tempo in making those, being able to have customers come in and keep track of their order. There's math in just that alone, but also technology used to do that. And we get to see that throughout the bear. And there's just so many components going on, so many people working in those kitchens in their own space and keeping track of that space and what they're doing. And whether we're talking about cooking, baking, or anything else involving what they're doing in the restaurant, there's going to be math involved. And not only that, throughout the bear, what I find interesting is that we see different components in opening up a new restaurant, right? Like there's different things that they have to meet, like safety inspections, health inspections, things along those lines, right? They have to have things at certain levels, like they have to have the gas at the right level, like they show that with like the balloon, making sure that didn't pop and all that. I think that was cool, but there's other stuff too, right? And they have to make sure their electrical work is good. And there's money in all of this, and the idea is like it's an investment, right? You're gonna make money later, but it's a tough business. They don't shy away from that in the bear, and I think that's fascinating. And what I also like is a bonus, in addition to just like all the things that I mentioned about food and running a restaurant and restaurants in general. Um, there's cool ways that they use math in the show, like I like that there's they show like the orders and the ticket numbers and like the dishes that people are ordering and how many, and there might be a stressful scene where there's a lot of orders coming in, and you can see that, and you can see that play out in the math, you can see that play out in the papers coming down, and there might be like a deadline there might be using, so they're looking at the time, right? And I think that's very cool because all those things do happen, all those things do take math, and I think that's fascinating. And not only that, there's math just all across the board in making a show, notably this one. So the Bear is interesting in that it varies in length, right? So, and there's math in that, right? There's math in how many episodes in a season are made and how long these episodes are going to be. And there's math in just if there's going to be additional seasons, right? And that's contingent on a number of factors. It's contingent on money, it's contingent on ratings. So, no matter how you cut it, there's math in it, right? And that fascinates me. But that's not all, right? There's math in the filming. Like there's math in not only how it's filmed and the perspective that you're using during filming and any close-ups, like zooming in and out. There's like math in all of that, right? And the function and flow of the show. But there's math in the lighting, math in the sound effects, math in the music, math in the acting, right? In the writing as well, right? Because like you have a certain script for an episode, right? And a certain pace to be maintained. And there's math in making that work. And then there's math in the actors delivering that. Not only do they have to be cautious of their position, but the position of other people, as well as everything else going on in the background of the set that we're not seeing. And on top of that, there's math not only in keeping track of their position, but there's math in the volume that they're speaking. There's math in the breathing. There's math in the emotion and getting certain emotions across. There's math in the directing of all that. There's so many people coming together to make this work, and there's math in how it gets to you on streaming, right? And I think that's all cool. And you as the viewer, you're putting time in the show, and it's like, well, what are you getting out of it? And for me, it was a lot of enjoyment. I like food, I like art, I like math, I like excellent television. And it was cool to see all that come together. So I feel like that was rewarding to me. I really enjoyed this, like, I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed the writing. I really enjoyed all the excellent food that you see, and I enjoy the editing choices and transitions and just how the characters work off of each other, and how there's just so much, deliberate action. There's so much intentionality, and I think that's really cool. And there's a lot of precision in that show, and I think that's amazing. And I dig it. And again, I got to watch it with my mom, so that was nice. I mean, we both like food because, like, I mean, who doesn't, right? And it was just cool to have that. But yeah, so there's two seasons of The Bear so far. I think you should absolutely watch it. It's freaking brilliant. Here's to a third season and as many seasons as it needs. It is awesome. They clearly put a lot of work in it. Whether they're talking about the actors or the writers, and anyone else, like the casting crew, whatever the case may be, there's math in the production and just making everything work and staying in a budget and having everything come to you in the way that it does. And again, math and everything else that I said, math is something that is natural. It's something that is everywhere and in everything. And I think one of the things that I've been saying like recently, just about how crazy that all is that everything has a shape, everything has that geometry to it, and that's inherently mathematical, and it's just like, and everything is composed of atoms, and subatomic particles is a consequence, and all these other particles that have come out. But my whole point is just like, the more you dig down, digging deep, you find that there's just math at every conceivable level, both the really tiny ones, or if we're expanding outward, that. And I think that's cool. I think that's interesting, and I appreciate what they were doing in the Bear. And showing more like about the restaurant industry that you don't necessarily see, and I think it's fascinating. And again, I cannot recommend this show enough. It is excellent. And I'm pretty sure I didn't go into spoiler territory, which is good because I was trying to avoid that. But I try to, just preface these videos like that because sometimes I will. But anyway, food, math, art, excellent television, excellent acting and writing. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the Bear for now. And please feel free to add to the conversation whether you want to talk about the Bear, food, math, whatever the case may be. Let's talk. I'll see you in the next one. Professor Prime out.